Hello, everybody. So, this will be the first vlog. After I think I've gotten everything figured out, I uploaded the first little bit of a new playthrough of Scarlet Hollow. I figured we'd start over from the beginning and go through episode 5. Because according to the developers, they have made some changes to the game, and in a special sense, they apparently changed out Kenai to Street Smart for, I believe it's episode 2, where we try to save the kids from the mine and stuff. So, very interesting. So, I'm very curious to see what happens with that and how that affects, maybe we can save everybody, maybe we can get everybody out of there. Not a problem. I don't know. But, anyway, I've been doing some job hunting, because I definitely need to find something part-time, find a little bit of extra money, and also to get me out of the flat at least a couple days a week. What I found really funny, because I was looking mainly at retail, since that's what I have the most experience in, and what I found absolutely funny was there's a store called Card Factory, which is kind of, I assume it's a combination of, like, the old Hallmark stores that used to be in malls and Nobby's, where I worked for about 3 years, which I really enjoyed for the most part. I had a lot of fun in that store, other than that 1 year where it was like you had to be on the right manager's side and blah blah blah, and I could get into that at some point. I think I probably have at some point, but it's been like a really long time since I've talked about Nobbies. So if you guys would like to hear about that, I can definitely record a video where I talk more about my time at Nobbies and the pros and cons and all that. But anyways, so this Card Factory place, which I've never been into, because as I've gotten older, I've kind of gotten away from, like, I used to be a card person. Matter of fact, I used to browse the card section at whatever store I was at that had them. Whether it was Walgreens, whether it was a grocery store, whatever. I always enjoyed just browsing that aisle, and usually they had their candles and stuff or fragrances somewhere close by, and so that was always fun. I've always been a big candle person. Can't really have candles where we're at right now because of open flame and all that, which I definitely understand. That is, yeah, considering it wouldn't be just us, a place, if the place caught fire. But, either way, but I don't know, I just find it kind of interesting. I'm just kind of like, like, I don't know. But, so the thing that I noticed, because, you can go to their website and there's normally a place to click for, like, careers or jobs or check out our roles or whatever. And so I was looking at that, and they didn't really have any. They had like a team lead type position. And so I was looking at that, and it was kind of weird. Like, they said available hours 8. But that's it. They didn't say like 8 per week, 8 per day, 8 per shift. So I was just like, that's kind of odd. It's like 8, huh? And then, of course, my other problem with a lot of retail places that they tend to speak in, the websites tend to speak in like corporate talk. You know, it's like, you will be the face of our operation. You will be, providing excellent customer service to every employee. You will, like they don't even say anymore, you'll have to deal with difficult situations, or you'll have to approach challenges, but they always speak in that corporate speak, like, that, in my opinion, basically means, yeah, you'll be forced to stand there and listen to some Karen berate you because, you won't accept her long expired coupon for 10 pence off or something like that. And I'm just like, the more I look at roles like that, the more I'm just like, maybe I don't want to work retail. But I know it's something that I can do. I just want to find the right place. I want to find a place where I can not be rude or anything, but like I can step up and say, hey now, calm down. We'll see if we can work out a solution for this problem. But also keep in mind your coupon expired in December and it's now March. So it's like, but like, I've always been the type of, if you're nice, if you're polite, if you ask, if you go say, hey, I know my coupon expired, do you have anything else that could possibly, because here's the thing, some of these places do have coupons, or like I'm thinking of like Target, where if you were like a Target member or something like that, I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called something like the Red Circle, which that's part of the logo. So not sure what's so special about it. But apparently if you join this exclusive club, you could, get like extra discounts or get like other percentages off or whatever. And so, it's like, I'm always willing to help people. If you come to me and you're like, hey, I don't have any coupons, but I can only spend so much, I mean, at least if I know that, then I can, like, direct, and I can be like, well, this is our clearance section, but we got some really nice cards here and here, or, whatever. But it's like, if you're gonna be rude to me, or if you're gonna just stand there and berate me or whatever, no, I will not help you. The days for that has long gone past, and that's the other reason why I'm a little bit nervous about applying for retail jobs, is I just don't have the patience anymore to deal with stuff like that. And, things may be different over here in the UK, customers may not be as aggressive, although I've been, hang on, there we go. I've been in a couple of places and seen like the little signs that say, verbal harassment or whatever will not be tolerated. And it's like, while I like that, it also makes me nervous that it happens. And it's like, do I want to be on the other side of the counter? And like, but on the other hand, I'm also like, okay, maybe the fact that they are willing to call it out and to be like, no, you will not get your way here, You cannot have it your way. This is not Burger King. And like I said, most retail associates are perfectly willing to help out. They're perfectly willing to help resolve issues or, make it easier for the customer or whatever. I mean, it's not a big deal usually, but I don't know, sometimes it's just, I still have that residue from back in America when I wasn't allowed to stand up for myself, defend myself. And there were a couple of jobs, like at Target, where my shift lead did not give two craps about me and was just basically like, like I still to this day remember, because one of our big things working the self-checkout was, was we had to not only like check ID and stuff for if you were buying alcohol, but like we had the little magnet things and we had to pop off the security tops, and stuff like that. I still remember that one time, and keep in mind this was in December. This was very close to Christmas, and we were busy as Hades, and so, and one of our, at one end, one of our magnets got broken in half, and as a result, because it was one of the, you like put it in, and the lid had like two notches, and you had to put the thing in, and then pop the buttons on either side. I remember we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that at all because our magnet wasn't working, and several of us told our shift lead, I don't remember his name other than it was Ethan, I think, but he was just like, oh, it's not that bad, you guys can handle it. I'm like, you're not listening to me. The customers are getting upset. They're getting mad. They're taking it out on us. You are a shift lead. It is your responsibility to make sure we have all the tools we need. Anyway, I could go on and on. I've made a video about that. I don't remember what it's called, but you guys know about it because it's basically one of the few videos I've gotten a lot of comments on, and that actually really cheered me up at the time because I was like, hey, other people sympathize, other people understand what I was going through at the time and all that. So, anyway, but yeah, so I forgot what I was talking about. So yeah, we're probably gonna continue with oh, but yeah, so it just kind of blew my mind that this place was like that this store was like 8 hours. Like 8 hours a day, 8 hours per shift, 8 hours a week. Because I'm now walking all the way from here to High Street and back however many days a week for 8 hours a week. I'm not doing that, no. And like that's the other thing. It's a lot of the other hours, like a lot of the other jobs that I think, unless they're like high up, like manager or above, you don't get very many hours. I've only seen one job opening. I don't remember what it was for now, but it was like 25 hours a week. And I'm like, that would be decent. I could do that. I mean, that's just 5 less than 30. And so that still would be like part time, but it wouldn't be like, what am I trying to say? It wouldn't be like, you know, it just kind of took me back a little bit that it was like so vague, just 8 hours, and didn't say like per what, And so I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing something for 8 hours a week. It's like, no, thank you. No, not going to do that. Now, is it probably more 8 hours a shift? I would say probably yes, especially considering it was for a team lead position. So, so you'd be there for a whole 8 hours, because I assume it would be like from 8 in the morning, 9, whenever the shop's open on High Street, and go until like 5 o'clock or whatever. I also assume you get like a lunch in there or something, but could be wrong. But yeah, so anyway, that's for the most part what I've been doing. I've been been just looking at different jobs and stuff like that, trying to figure out what to do. Or like the other job, like I mentioned this before, there's a store like right across the street from where we live, and it's called the Co-op, and it's like a little convenience store slash grocery store slash, it's got like a variety of different things in it, but it's mostly like soda, snacks, but it does have an out where you can get like sauces and pasta and stuff like that. So, and it's got a little area even where you can get like fresh vegetables, like potatoes and parsnips and carrots and stuff like that. And I find that kind of fascinating. And they do occasionally advertise for like customer service members or customer service advisors, something like that. And so basically it's a floor person, some floor person slash maybe cashier? I don't know. I've only really seen a couple of people be the cashier, and they normally stay fairly close up to the front, so like I don't know if they do floor stuff as well, or if it's more of a you stay up by the registers and do stuff related to up there, or if it's more of a and like they have some floor people. They have some people who do mainly like stocking and that kind of stuff. So it's not a big deal. But the thing that I don't like about their advertisements is they're very, I want to say on purpose, vague about hours. So like you ask about hours and it's like 15 hours a week, which isn't very many, but still better than 8 hours if it's 8 hours a week. But on the negative side, it's like they don't, like, I assume they're looking for people to work different shifts, because in the advertisement it's just all kind of a jumbled mess. It's like they don't say, well, there's morning shift, and then there's afternoon shift, and then there's evening shift, or whatever. It's just, they just kind of group it all under one, and they're like, it's variety of hours, and you may work open, it's one of those where the wording is hours may include up and including, open hours, closing the store, working weekends and that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, okay. Well, and also considering the co-op is one of the few stores here next year that's open like later at night, because back when I was doing the writing meeting with the writing group, like I would come back and walk along Queen Street and they would be open. Matter of fact, Keith met me one time coming back and we went into the store and got a few things before heading back home. And like I said, it would be really convenient. It would be really easy to get to and from work. But I don't want to, like, I don't even know, like, what kind of... Sorry. Oh, excuse me. Like, I don't know, like, what kind of hours I would be expected to work, and kind of makes me hesitate because they're not clear and clarified, and they say, we'll discuss this further at your interview, and it's like, And so it kind of sucks, because like I said, it'd be really close to and from work. I could walk there and back, and easy peasy. But yeah, if they're going to be that vague with hours, I don't know if I want to even try something like that. Well, and also, it doesn't seem like this store is hiring right now. Now, there's another co-op that I have seen when Keith and I go on the bus to go up to Ash and Nikki's, but the walking distance is quite a bit further. And so I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to, I don't know if I'd want to, like say it closes at 10, I get done shutting down, locking the place up, going, and then trying to walk home in the dark. And, I don't know. Just stuff about it just gives me the hinky feeling. And like I said, I don't know if that's just me. I don't know if it's just me feeling weird about it or, whatever. But, so anyway, that's what I've been doing. The other thing I've been trying to do is figure out what to spend the remaining $10 I have on my gift card. So I don't know. I was kind of debating on getting Undertale, only just because, for a while there was seemed to be what a lot of people were talking about online. But it's kind of a fighting game, and it just seems to, at certain parts, be very, very hard and very, very difficult. And I don't normally play those kind of games. So I'm matter of fact, I don't normally play RPGs because the fighting element is so interwoven into those kind of games. So, I'm trying to decide, and I haven't decided yet. There's another option I'm thinking about. It's a game called Coffee Talk, which is apparently, so the only reason why I haven't really played it is it seems to be, because there's a game I already have that I played through a few times called Tavern Talk, where you're an innkeeper. And I don't know if I want to spoil it, considering I might play it for you guys at some point. Maybe. Like I said, it's kind of one of those games where it's after you played it, especially me, because, you have the option in this game to go full evil and to join the big bad guy and everything. But, me, I haven't taken that route yet and probably never will, because I'm not normally a, let's join the big bad guy, kind of thing. Or, and I don't know. But apparently this game is called Coffee Talk, and it's similar, assume that you're behind a bar, but you're in a coffee house. You're in a place that serves coffee, like a Starbucks, or whatever your local coffee place is. But apparently the difference is, this is an alternative universe, set in the year 2020, in which you get to interact with a lot of, monsters, like vampires, Frankenstein, mummies, that kind of thing. It piques my curiosity, but I'm also just is it too similar to Tavern Talk, Because it's not, as far as I'm aware, it's not a D&D type adventure, but at the same time, it's I already have one game where basically I end up where my character just ends up making drinks for people and listening to their stories. So I don't know if Coffee Talk is too much like that. I don't want to I want my games to be slightly different than each other, if that makes sense. Like, I would get Slay the Princess, but it's a bit, too, what's the word? It's a bit too many resources on my computer required, if that makes sense. And so I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't really, which was why I was kind of looking at Undertale, because that one only lasts like so many gigabytes of space, like 2 gigabytes of space, and then for like storage, it's like something like 200 or 500 megabytes, which is not that bad, so I don't know. Like I was trying to decide. Maybe I'm talking myself out of certain games. I don't know, but anyway, like I said, I'm also trying to save money because it's getting toward the end of the week, end of the month, and Keith gets paid in like a week or so, depending on when he gets paid. But then I also have to go and get my other medication. Like, I got 3 of my 4 medications earlier in the month, and now I have one that I need to go get toward the end of the month, and don't know if I'll be able to do that or if I'll have to wait until next month. But, and then that's the other thing. Like, I don't mind asking Keith for money, although I still have to struggle with that sometimes, because I'm so used to, you work, you make your own money, blah, 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 and that my parents, never really gave me much, if any, money of my own to do things with and stuff. And like, whatever, that's fine. But, at the same time, I'm just like, so I still struggle with asking Keith for money or saying, hey, can you spare me 10 pounds or 5 pounds or whatever, and then I can go do this, or or go across the street and get some snacks or whatever. And so I'm just like, yeah. But I still do struggle with that, but that's a me thing. That's a me thing. That's just me dealing with my past, trying to figure out, oh, it's okay to ask for money now, and I have a partner who, will support me and will help me out. But I still would like to find a job of my own. I still would like to find something that can do, something that I will enjoy. Something that'll help me make a little bit of money so I can go get my own snacks or, go to Boots, get stuff that I need, whatever. That kind of thing. But yeah, so anyway, that's been my base. I have been playing, I have started a new playthrough of Stardew Valley. I don't know if you guys know, I don't know how to say his name. It's Campensaurus, I want to say. But he does a lot of video game type music and that kind of stuff. Well, he's done a few songs for Stardew Valley, including the song about Sebastian. And I, out of nostalgia, watched that video. um, the other day, and it inspired me so much. I was like, yeah, I want to do a playthrough where I go after Sebastian. Because the thing is, when you start the game, like, a lot of villagers are out and about, they're walking through town, they're doing things, you can go to certain places, and 9 times out of 10 they'll be at that place. Problem is, if they're in their bedroom and you are less than 2 hearts with them, you cannot enter their bedroom. Like I said, with most of the villagers, it's perfectly fine because they're out wandering around, they're doing that stuff. But Sebastian, like, he only goes out when it's raining, and he has, like, specific places that he goes. His family, like, here's a map. Here's your farm. His house where he lives is up in the mountain areas, so he's way up here. So you gotta go from here, you gotta go way up here. And thankfully there's like 2 places there's 2 paths to take. There's like a shortcut, and then there's like the typical path that takes you through town and everything. The problem with Sebastian is that he's one of the few villagers few marriageable villagers that you meet that already has a job, that he works full-time as like a programmer. But that means that he is in his room. Like, when you first start the game, you go around, because his mom is the town carpenter, so you go to her for, like, hey, I need you to build me a chicken coop, or I need a well built, or, whatever. It's like, so you go to her, and he has a stepdad and a younger sister who is kind of the stepdad's favorite. And so they're milling about, they're doing things, they're easily accessible. And then you go down the stairs and you're met with like a closed door, and you see Sebastian sitting at his computer going typey. And it's like you can't get into the room. You have to be at 2 hearts with him. But it's a bit of a challenge, because in order to get to 2 hearts with him, you have to A, talk to him, B, give him gifts that he likes, and, so it's kind of funny replaying this, because I remember the first time I played, I had the hardest time, because I didn't know that Sebastian, only left and went walk around when it rained. They only came out of late at night and went to go, stare out at the water, because there's a lake by their house, that kind of thing. And so now that I know that, I've gotten a little bit closer, and I finally got to 2 hearts with him. And I was like, yes, It just, sometimes you need a bit of a challenge in the game, and I like that. I like that they put Sebastian in there. Oh, and also, I think I may have mentioned this in a past video, but apparently, Concerned Ape, who is the sole developer of Stardew Valley, he's adding 2 new marriage candidates. One I'm really excited about, because it's Sandy, who we don't get to know until we get the bus repaired, and we can go to the Calico Desert where she is. But Sandy is also one of Emily's friends, and Emily is another bachelorette, so there's that whole thing. So you can now marry, you can, well, once he adds it, he hasn't updated it yet, but so apparently, so now we have extra motivation to get the bus repaired and to get that going. And then the other marriage candidate is Clint. Now, Clint's deal is that he's and not the bartender, that's Gus. Clint is the blacksmith, so he is who you see him a lot, because you go to him once you start gathering ore and stuff like that, and you can smelt bars and turn those in once you have enough bars and money, and you can get your tools upgraded, from like copper to iron to gold, and then radium is what I want to say. I could be wrong about how to say that, but anyway. So, it's kind of funny because it's kind of nice, you get to talk to the blacksmith a lot, and you can become friends with the blacksmith. Matter of fact, he's one of the first people to visit you on your farm. One of the first cutscenes you get is him being like, hey, I see you've been cracking open some rocks and getting some more. You'll need a furnace. I have this set of blueprints, and he gives them to you. And so I'm like, that's nice. But Clint's big deal is that he likes and is, depending on your viewpoint, he's a bit of a stalker of Emily. He's been known to hide in bushes because he wants to ask her out, but he's so shy and so insecure that he can't. So, Concerned Ape was chuckling when he revealed the two names. So I'm like, either he wants this to be a joke, he's obviously going to do it. He's going to make Clint marriageable, but he's either not going to change anything about his backstory, or he's actually going to change his backstory a little bit, or make it so that the crush on Emily is not so obvious? I don't know. I don't know what I want to say, because here's the thing. Emily is like a bit, and I think that's part of her character. She's kind of the manic pixie girl, she likes crystals, she likes, she talks about, being one with the universe, so that in most cases I'm like, oh, she's fellow witch, or she's a crystals girl, or whatever, But, she doesn't seem to get that Clint likes her. That he likes her. And, I'm just kind of like, how can you not see that? But, I don't know. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm very curious to see if Concerned Ape does anything to snazz up Clint's backstory. If he adds more to it, or if it's just kind of I gave you one that y'all want. Now here's one that you may not want very much, but, it's also could be kind of fun. Okay, am I still going? Okay, I'm still going. That was weird. I got a message from Keith, and I have our phones through a company here, and they will occasionally send us, hey, you want to save money on your phone bill or sign up to win this contest or whatever. But yeah, so like I'm just really curious to see what happens. Like I'm curious to see if Clint changes at all, or if it'll be more of a, yeah, this'll be fun. See people marry Clint just to, we have to deal with him still liking Emily even after you start dating him, and you have to deal with that situation. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm currently waiting for that update to come through. No idea when it will, but I assume it'll happen at some point soon. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. And yeah, just kind of wanted to talk into the void, so to speak. And, if anybody's listening, I hope this made your day a little bit. I hope I gave you something to think about. And if any of you guys haven't played Stardew Valley, I highly recommend it. It is good. It does get a little grindy once you get past the beginning stage of it. Like, the beginning part is fun because you're like, oh, I gotta do this, and now I gotta craft this, and now I have these seeds to plant, to water, and all that. I gotta run around and get these things from the community center. Or, if you don't want to do that, you can go the Georgia Mart route and just buy all the things you have to do. And either way is valid. That's the thing I like about this game. You can do the community center or you can do Georgia. And, like I said, I just find it really interesting. But it's a really fun game, and I highly recommend it if you guys haven't played it yet. And the final thing I want to say is, I'm not sure, it's Wednesday today, so not sure when the next Scarlet Hollow video will come out. But as far as I've decided, we're going to stick with Scarlet Hollow. We're going to keep going through that. But again, let me know if there's any other games you want me to play. We can still get back into Tiny Bookshop. I did upload a little bit of Strange Horticulture. We could do that. We have Roots of Paka, which I haven't played very much of. It ended up not being as fun as I thought it would, but I don't know, might dive back into it at some point. And yeah, so just let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I think that's all I had to say today, and I will talk to you guys later.